The Saturday edition of Morning Live continues. So, if you can look hard enough, you can see our future. It opened at the Newcomb Art Museum at Tulane University in New Orleans last month, drawing significant attention from both local and international art communities. This exhibition showcases the transformative power of contemporary art through a diverse array of 50 artworks by notable artists, highlighting their unique perspectives, their socio-political themes that characterize their work as well. And so, amongst the featured artists, Zanele Muholi, Athi Patra Ruga, as well as William Kentridge, Mbongeni Buthelezi, David Goldblatt, Portia, Zvavahera, and Nhlengethwa. And that's just to name a few of the artists. So to tell us a little bit more about this, we are joined now by the exhibition's chief curator at Spier Arts Trust, Tamlin Blake. Tamlin, good morning, and thank you for joining us at this hour.
Good morning, and thanks for having me here today. It's lovely to be here.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you here. I'm looking at the theme, looking what's been called the motivation behind you to create an exhibition centered around this theme. If you can look hard enough, you can see our future. Tell us a little bit more. How's that future looking?
Well, that's a question. Just to clear a small thing up, so the curator of this exhibition is actually Lorianne Farrell. She is an American curator who we asked to curate the show specifically so that she could look for messaging or themes within the collection that she found specific to the American sort of way of looking at art, looking at sort of themes and issues within both the cultural context of South Africa, but also how that might look back to America. So I'm the chief curator for Spier Arts Trust, and we work very closely with Nando's to actually build their collection, which has now facilitated this sort of selection by Lorianne for this particular show. Her intent, I think, for this exhibition was really to look at the diverse themes that that are present within the artwork that South Africans sort of make and what they deal with. Her main sections were portraiture, landscape, abstract art, and then in different iterations of the show, I know the one in Dallas also had a section on cityscapes. So, you know, to try and keep it quite open, looking at different avenues that we might sort of want to engage in, and contrasting them and kind of going, well, you know, they're all different things, all these different people in our country that are looking at very different issues.
Yes, okay, so thank you for clarifying that, and thank you for speaking to it as well, because then if we look at the selected artworks that begin to reflect the transformative power of contemporary art by addressing socio-political issues as well. I mean, I wonder if you could speak a little bit further to that. But even just the process itself of collaborating with the featured artists, the unique perspectives that were integrated into this exhibition.
Yes, I think, as artists, we can't get away from dealing with socio-political issues at all ever. I think as soon as you are engaging with even the landscape, you're looking at issues around inhabitants who's moved through the land, who's living there at the moment. Just one example. Obviously, there are artists in the show who look more specifically at certain political issues. You've got Sue Williamson, who, sort of deals with the history of District 6. You've got William Kentridge, who is known for sort of dealing quite eloquently with some very difficult topics in our South African history. And then, of course, we've got more recently Zanele Muholi, who's also looking at sort of gender politics and how that might be questioned within the South African context.
No, absolutely. Yeah. You cannot divorce art from what's happening in society. And, as we explore some of those themes, I mean, it's also important perhaps to take into consideration or into account, when selecting the 50 artworks for the exhibition. I mean, talk to us about that as a curator, and then collectively, how do they then contribute to this overarching theme? Because I was asking you what they're seeing in the future. What's been reflected then?
Yes, I think Lauriane Farrell did actually mention that it was an incredibly daunting task. I think there's over 30,000 artworks in the collection, and she went through each and every one of them to select this group of artworks for the show. I think she says she was blessed because it was actually COVID time, so she had nothing else to do. Okay. And she went through it very thoroughly. And I think she really did have an idea of looking at not only the history of the country, but hopefully lending a sense of hope towards what our future might be. She took the title of the exhibition from Stephen Hobbs's work. If you look hard enough, you can see, I think it says, My Future. Yeah. And he specifically asked the artist if she could use that artwork to shift it to include people as a whole, mainly because the work was going to be exhibited in America as well, and there's a sense of inclusion there by not only including the other art, the other artists, but also the public, the people who are coming to look at the work, so that there is a questioning around how are we as individuals involved in the future of our own spaces, either in South Africa or America or globally, and to come to this exhibition with a sort of sense of not just questioning what the artists specifically are asking, but how do you respond to the artworks, and what might you take away into just in terms of thinking about the future, about the sort of even the present of South African sort of politics, situation, the whole thing.
Tamlin, just as we wrap up, thank you for speaking to that, because as we look at, it being a means for reflection and dialogue as well, in what ways do you envision that the impact of this exhibition is going to have perhaps on future projects or exhibitions within the art community for South Africa, the global arts landscape at large?
I think generally speaking, we were very proud and delighted that Nando's is taking this exhibition overseas. We as South Africans have a fairly good idea of what our art is about, but it doesn't get out in this sort of way very often. And it's a wonderful opportunity for such a diverse range of artworks to be seen internationally. Hoping that it excites other markets, other sort of viewers of art, to looking more carefully at what South Africans are doing, and just being enthusiastic about it.
Yes, well, thank you for your work. Thank you to the artists for flying the flag high for South Africa, for being part of that conversation, of course, really reflecting the lives of ordinary South Africans through art. This morning, Tamlin Blake joining us and chatting about the highly anticipated exhibition, If You Can Look Hard Enough, You Can See Our Future, of course, opened at the Newcomb Art Museum at Tulane University in New Orleans last month.